Yo, world, it's your boy JoJo Jovan, and we're here at the Socially Charged, Debatable, and Dope. I'm talking about the Privilege Show. I have two of the illest co-hosts in the game with me today on this beautiful, beautiful day. I'm talking about LaShane.
Hey, y'all.
And today we have a very, very special guest by the name of Carmen. She is an amazing therapist, an amazing woman, an amazing... so many things. But I will say that one thing that sticks out to me is that you are an instructor, you're a teacher, and you're helping a lot. You're helping the world. You're helping a lot of us, a lot of the younger generations get through this COVID-19 with somewhat of a sane mind. We did our research on you, and we've seen that you're doing a lot of incorporating what you're doing, incorporating a lot of your therapy, shall I say, with music, into the classrooms and things like that. So welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited today.
You're good today, yeah?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
well and happy.
So the guests know a little bit more in depth, about you. Can you give us a little bit, or give the guests and viewers a little bit about, your background and, all the good stuff with you, Carmen?
Yeah, of course. Well, my background is in counseling. I have a Master of Arts in Guidance and Counseling and a Bachelor of Arts in History. And as of right now, I am a teacher. I teach 11th graders in a special early college entry program in the Bay Area. And I came into this position about a year ago, and it's been really amazing to be able to work with youth directly. As having worked with predominantly college students, now I'm being able to really work with kids that are going into college and really getting them early and, being able to support them and guide them through these transitions that they're dealing with. So, my background's really always been about connecting and engaging. And even now as a teacher, I still try to incorporate, who I am as a person and what I really believe in and what I love, which is hip hop culture.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's a great, pathway segue on into, the episode. This episode is titled, They Say I'm Crazy, Maybe I'm Crazy. And it's all geared towards mental health, mental awareness, and everything wrapped around that. COVID-19, the coronavirus has thrown us into a huge uncertainty, a huge disarray. Our elders are worried. We're worried for our children. We're worried for each other. And so it's tough. It's tough right now. And we got some things to dive into within this episode. And so thanks again for joining us. LaShane, it's great to see you. Chilling over there in the vibe.
Hey.
Hey, so what is up with you? What's going on in the universe? What's going on with us? So we have Carmen here, who's going to shed some light on how we can get through some things and share some experience. And you mentioned something very good, Carmen. I'm going to get back with you real quick, LaShane. 1 second. Carmen mentioned, and you guys have to stay tuned to the episode, because Carmen did mention that she does use hip hop music as a form of therapy. So stay tuned. I wanted to throw that at our audience before we dived off. But LaShane, what's been going on? You've been good. You always have great cosmic energies to fill me in on that I look forward to hearing about. So what's going on? What can you let me and Carmen know about how you're feeling, where we're at right now?
So the fourth retrograde has already begun, which is Jupiter. So we're in the middle of 4 retrogrades. So there was Pluto that started April 25th. Then there's Saturn that started May 10th. Venus started May 13th, and Jupiter started May 14th. And so while that sounds pretty intense, because everybody knows Mercury retrograde messes with technology, nothing works, all that stuff, it's actually an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity to review, reflect, and reanalyze just kind of all of the life decisions that got us to wherever we are respectively at this point. And so we're basically asking at this point, this last retrograde is asking us to release or repeat whatever we're looking at with like fresh eyes. Hold on, baby. Okay.
He's telling us about the energies too.
I'm sorry, say that again.
telling us about the energies too.
Yes, dandelions.
So it sounds pretty heavy. It sounds like, because when I first heard of Mercury in retrograde, I had to do my research. It sounded pretty heavy, like it was almost a medicine or something, kind of almost too much to pronounce. But now you're saying that there's 4 of them amongst us.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is that we should possibly repeat some things.
We're going to be asked to revisit some things, and revisiting can be a number of things for different people. So it could just be looking over the way you viewed a particular event or situation with newfound eyes, mostly recognizing where we've deceived ourselves, where we've hidden portions of ourselves away to appease others. And just realizing that in some situations we actually manipulated ourselves, that we weren't actually the victim. And so it's like calling your shadow selves out. Like, it's not going to allow it. So the first retrograde is that, bring your shadow self out. And then after that, it's like getting to that process of self-love with Saturn, and really being able to like forgive yourself for the deceit that you kind of willingly subscribe to. And then Venus is kind of like making all that work and making you like apply it to your actual relationships. Doesn't matter what type of relationship. And it's going to force you to like reevaluate how you show up for those relationships. So with just those 3 retrogrades, there's a lot of pressure on those relationships that are either going to make it stronger or make them completely crumble. But whatever's not authentic and not based and grounded in the right things, they're going to fall away. So you're seeing a lot of like people in transition in one way or another right now. So the beauty, it's okay, baby. The beauty of the Jupiter retrograde is to kind of like help us determine long-term how we make this newfound authenticity within ourselves sustainable. And it's actually going to be a huge call to have like faith in our spirituality, whatever that is for you, because there's going to be this moment that Jupiter retrograde, Jupiter's about expansion. So it's like making us realize where our goals are and how far away we actually are right now, but having faith and like that unshakable faith that you can manifest that. So it's like not getting caught up in the distance, but just no longer subscribing to those illusions that we put on ourselves. So if you want $1 million, you can have $1 million. It doesn't matter if you just went bankrupt. But you have to believe that, and then, not subscribe to those illusions anymore so that you can take the necessary steps to get there. And so that's what all of this is about. So as long as you're showing up and having the difficult conversations and looking yourself in the mirror and taking that time to sit alone, it won't be so bad. But those 4 retrogrades should also signify the cycles that, if not yourself, the people around you are going to be going through. So a lot of people are in different types of transitions based on, based on where they are at within their own personal journey within each of those 4 retrogrades. So that's what's going on.
Oh, I was just listening, and every week, Carmen, if you don't know, this is one of my favorite segments of the show, because I'm big in astrology for one. I also understand that God, as my creator, created the stars, created the earth, created the dirt, the energies, the ants, even smallest down to microparticles and things like that. So it's really interesting to get this expertise, if you will, shared, to kind of know where we can look, for those who do follow Zodiac. Some people feel like Zodiac or anything that is not specifically worded in the Bible is not of God. And so I just wanted to get that. And I just want to say, I appreciate that segment. I appreciate these segments. Mercury in retrograde for me always sounds like a bad thing. It sounds like something's going to go wrong, and so to hear that there's some potential light to what we're doing, I'm looking forward to that. So thank you for sharing. Carmen, have you had any experiences with Mercury in retrograde yourself? Mercury in retrograde yourself, or do you? Where do you fall in line with that?
Yeah, I'm definitely an enthusiast of astrology myself. I'm still very early stages. I barely learning about the planets and how they connect to us. But when it comes to Mercury, I know that my zodiac sign, Gemini, is ruled by Mercury. So I'm all about communication and engagement and talking with people. So typically during Mercury retrograde, that's when I start making mistakes in my emails. I start having issues when I'm talking in front of class, like I can't find my words, I'm struggling.
Right.
But I recognize it, I address it, I say, okay, I know what this is. Let me take a second, let me breathe through this and start over. So I really try to just, even without Mercury being in retrograde, I just gotta give myself that grace to be like, okay, we all, have things that affect us, but we can always overcome it. So
Yeah, and you like it's not that serious. It's picking and choosing your battles a little bit better, I guess, if you will.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I've been working on that myself too. So it's good to hear that we have our retrograde supporters in the building. Yeah, thank you, LaShane, for that. Rolling on into the front page news. I mean, we're still here with coronavirus. It's a lot of front page news to read off and talk about with you guys. Where we are today with the coronavirus is the cases that are rising and the numbers that are falling, in which states the numbers are rising in which states they're falling in. So on the top of the list, according to CNN, the 3 states with cases that are falling the fastest happen to be New Jersey, Missouri, and Idaho. As we know, at one point, New Jersey was considered the epicenter in the United States for the COVID-19 coronavirus. So to hear that they're actually coming on down, that's good for Cuomo, for New York, for Jersey, all that good stuff. And prayers still up. I mean, we're not done with this. I can't see it being done anytime soon within the rest of the year. They just gave LA 3 more months. We've been on the stay-at-home order since March 19th. And so now, as some of you know, may not know, we're now on to July. I could foresee that being until January. So, keeping up with this rising, falling situation. So we have Jersey falling down. We have Missouri falling. We have Idaho. Those are the 3 states with cases where they're falling the fastest. 3 states with the cases that are rising the fastest would be South Dakota, which saw one of the largest increases in cases jump over the last week. So I don't quite think it's safe to be going out yet, and we're going to talk about that too. I want to get you guys' opinion on that. So with the cases that are rising, going up, we have South Dakota, we have Missouri, and then we have Maine. Maine, which this last week, their cases rose up to nearly 32% from about 2 cases per 1,000 residents to nearly 3 cases per 1,000 residents. So it's a bit crazy still, a lot crazy. On the growing watch list, we've got Georgia, which was one of the first states to happily loosen their restrictions. So what's y'all take on it? Now, LaShane, I know we talk about throughout the show, our feelings and thoughts on opening up, what we're going to be doing when things open up, where we're going to be, where our mind should be, that type of thing. But Carmen, I want to get your input, on when do you plan on seeing yourself at the next party, or will it be this year, or what's your thoughts on this stay-at-home order?
Yeah, I think about that all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be indoors until it's officially like, okay, we can all go outside again. And then maybe another 3 weeks after that, I'm going to wait, because I don't want to take any chances at this point, because I think what's kind of happening, as we've seen, states are opening up early, and then there's the potential that people are going to go into these nightclubs, they're going to go to the barbershop, and then, they're asymptomatic and they could potentially infect other people. So I just would rather just err on the side of caution and, just stay at home as long as possible and continue to practice safe social distancing.
And that's the part that makes sense. I think that that's what we can all do. I feel for my family members and friends in other states that the cases are a little bit, higher and more dangerous. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Carmen. When me and LaShane said in the last episode, who knows when we're going to be seen, when I'll be seen, Have y'all had any friends or family members that you had to feel like, I might be done with you after this is over because you're not taking it that seriously? Have you guys had any encounters like that, LaShane, starting with you?
I don't know if it's been really because of that. Like, I think I respect what people want to do for themselves. I'm just more like, don't bring it to me and don't try to force what you're doing on me, because I'm doing what I feel is best for me and my son. So I wouldn't say that I've had any situation where I'm like, I can't because you don't take it seriously. I mean, I've prepared myself to lose people to COVID. Do I know who? Of course not. You know, I don't think just because they're doing things a certain way that I might not agree with me and my son doing, that I wish anything on them. It's just, yeah, live, let live on this one. But no major judgments like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. And, you know, I think that this is a time where we could just really promote each other and the people we know in our family to keep staying home, to keep, you know, doing what we need to do. It's just some bad times, you know. I thought about it. My dad had open heart surgery about a month and a half ago, and he's in Chicago. I don't even know what the airports are looking like to get there to see him. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, it's just very bad. Moving on from the coronavirus news headlines, the Bizarre Post. We name the Bizarre Post. We say, "What the cuff?" You know, we don't want to curse, but what the say what? So anyway, the Bizarre Post of the week we've seen Colorado police are looking for a man seen at a grocery store wearing a KKK hood and with a swastika. Am I pronouncing that right? Okay. So he's wearing a. Do you know how to pronounce that? Is it swastika?
Swastika. Mm-hmm.
Swastika. Thank you, swastika. What is the swastika?
It's the image that was. I mean, I'm probably getting this wrong, but the way I understand it, it's the image that was used by the Nazi Party to, you know, just kind of memorialize their values and their, you know, hateful views against the Jewish community.
I see. Thank you for bringing that to my light to me. So this specific incident, and if you guys are watching, feel free to check out the Privilege Show Instagram. We'll be dropping the photos of this on our page at the Privilege Show on Instagram. So Colorado police are looking for a man who was in a Southern California Vaughn store. This happens in 2 separate weeks. There's one guy in a whole nother state. And then there's another guy, and just to be clear, the first guy is in Dillon, Colorado, and he's getting out a carton of milk happily with his little, you know, KKK gear on. And then a couple of days ago, there's a guy in Southern California at a Bond store on with the KKK, you know, costumes. As I did more research, one of the guys said that it was a mask, that he's really not racist, that it's a mask. I mean, I personally know my opinion on it. But if y'all happen to go into a Vons or a dollar store or Big Lots, you know, and you see this KKK character standing in there, what are your thoughts on what are you doing?
Walking the other way. My immediate thought is racist. You'll kill me and my son. So let me get out of here. I don't have time for this.
And that's good, but I'm like, I almost want to call the police, but what is that going to do at this point?
Right.
Yeah, we're not allowed to do that. You might get shot.
Yeah, really get shot with that. Carmen, you agree with LaShane? You would head the other way?
Yeah, I would try to avoid any aisles that they are on. Really keep my head on a swivel, just in general. I mean, I'd be more upset with, you know, the store allowing someone to come into the premises wearing that, you know, knowing what it represents. So they can hide behind it being a mask, but we all know what it means.
Agreed. Bizarre Post of the Week. That's exactly what that is. Now, let's talk about some good detail really quick. Carmen, what have been some things that you've noticed that you've had to jump to the front of the line for in your specific line of work? You know, you talk about working with children and at high schools and therapy and introducing hip hop music and integrating that to provide a form of different therapy, type of therapeutic platforms for people in mental health and mental awareness. So exactly define for us what does that look like when you do that? Because it sounds amazing. I've never heard, that type of combination where you take the hip hop music, because like you said, off camera, you were like, some people look at hip hop music like it's, the worst thing in the world, like it's, all thug music and all that good stuff. So tell us a little bit about how you find therapy with hip hop and how you introduce it to others.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'll say that it's something that was created before me, before I went to grad school. This is, practitioners ahead of me have been doing this. So I fell upon hip hop therapy and rap therapy from a selfish standpoint. I was like, well, I'm going to create my own therapeutic intervention that I want to use with youth. And then I come to find out it's already existed. So I was like, okay, let me do my research. And for me, I'm not licensed to practice therapy, but, you can do counseling with or without a degree, as long as you can really be an active listener and to really genuinely and empathetically care for another person, you can really just be a vessel and be a really good support system. So I wanted to really look into how we can use music and non-traditional music, because music therapy is already a thing, but really going into it deep with, youth. What are they listening to? Large majority of youth, hip hop, rap music is one of the most commercialized genres in music. So 1 out of every 5, I guarantee they probably love it. So I wanted to educate others. So I've gone and done presentations at conferences and conventions in the state, really just trying to spread the awareness of how you can use it with kids. It's really just trying to meet them where they're at, which is what we say in counseling a lot of the time. But really just genuinely connecting with them and saying like, okay, what is it that you're interested in? What are you into? And then, just letting them kind of be vulnerable and open up to you. So, you can do it in a number of ways, but through the talk therapy side, I like to use lyrics and use that to really connect with kids. So what's a song that you listen to that really describes your experience? Maybe it's a Meek Mill song. Maybe it's a Jay-Z song. Maybe it's a Doja Cat or a Rico Nasty song. Like, it could be anything. But me being the person listening, tell me how that song makes you feel. So really you can use that with anything. And I love using it with kids and youth because that's when they'll really open up and really want to share. So.
That's good, because I do hear sometimes that it is hard getting youth to open up about, what they're going through, how they feel, the traumatic experiences that they might have experienced, when mom, dad wasn't around in school, whatever that might be. And that sounds very, very interesting. Now, I know for me, hip hop means a lot, for our culture. I've had a few conversations before where people are like, well, people are so stupid because they can get easily influenced by somebody saying, oh, go take the gun and shoot the nigga up the street, that type of thing. And you hear people. So there are two. What I'm saying is there are a few different avenues of learning from hip hop music.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, because you do hear and associate hip hop music being about rappers and thugs and people with pants sagging and guns and that type of thing. But it doesn't always have to be about that. And we're not talking about gospel rap or gospel hip hop per se. We're talking about, finding means of just getting your life from the true hip hop. So thank you for sharing that too. LaShane, did you have questions?
Yeah. Carmen, I was wondering, like, when you were saying about, like, tell you about a song that represents their experience, do you give them, like, songs to choose from or examples, or do they always, like, have one ready that, like, to them?
Yeah, I recommend letting them tell you what they listen to, just so that you're not, like, imposing any of your own chosen songs or values. But maybe if a student was having or youth was having a problem with kind of finding a song to talk about, then maybe you can say like, oh, what's that new song on the radio? Like, okay, let's talk about that one. And then maybe they'll be like, oh no, I don't want to talk about that song. I'd rather talk about this one.
Okay.
So you can offer suggestions, but I might recommend you let them tell you what they listen to first.
Okay. I like how you like really empower us as individuals to kind of just be a little bit more humane and like to our fellow man, brother, sister, and that we can all in some way offer a therapeutic session to someone. I really like that. That's something that stood out to me about what you were saying.